Hey, how's it going? I wanted to talk about AI tools for generating 3D models. I purchased a 3D printer like a year ago and just haven't used it as much as I would like to because it's just hard to source 3D models to print off the thing. If you want to make a model or find a model, it tends to be really difficult to find exactly what you want. So you end up just not really using the 3D printer, sadly. I think a lot of people are kind of in my boat. If you're just kind of a casual 3D printer, you're not really printing a lot throughout the year. It's just kind of the occasional thing. For me, I usually print most around birthdays and Christmas and stuff like that, because it's just trying to come up with something to give people for like gifts or whatever. Anyway, a while back I was thinking about printing some Halloween decorations. As Halloween's coming up, and I wanted to do that last year. I just never had the time to do it because I couldn't get the 3D models together. Anyway, I thought, hey, look, I should maybe look around for AI tools, and this is one of the ones that came up. It's Hitem3D. I had tried other tools before this one, and this one seems to be generating models um, quite proficiently, and it's really amazing because they're models that are, you know, they're enclosed, so you'll be able to just print them off your 3D printer immediately, which I think is quite amazing. Anyway, I reached out to them and they accepted me into the beta program. So I am able to test some of the new models that are coming out next week. So I just want to share that with you guys, so you can kind of see, you know, the type of models that you can get with Hitem3D. I'll just briefly talk about, it is a subscription-based model, and how that pricing sort of works currently. The lower resolutions are 20 tokens. I don't know the actual conversion. I just kind of pretend that these are cents. So this is like 20 cents, and this is going to be 50 cents to generate the model. If you want it cheaper, you would do that at the lowest resolution and turn off the texturization, and it only costs you like 10 cents. Um, but yeah, it is kind of expensive. I mean, you're talking about like a model a pop, or I mean, sorry, 50 cents a pop for a model. And the downside of that is like it's all random. Like if you are into image generation, you understand that it's all random. You get a completely different generation from one to the next. And so they try to remedy that and they provide you with like, you can try multiple times on that model to see if you can get a better one. So they try to give you some leeway with that, but you only get three generations for free. So total four generations. Um, yeah, so that's the pricing. I do have access to the newer models. So I'm going to be showing you the ones I generated with that. And oh yeah, you can look down here to kind of gives you an example of what it's able to do, you know, without generating that. I do believe you create an account, you do get a set of free credits, so you can try a couple of them for yourself. But anyway, let's just jump into the examples that I have. So basically, I just took a image from ChatGPT, asked it for a tooth fairy and a tooth, and you can see it did a really good job generating the hands and very attractive face. And this is the model that it generated. Didn't do a terrible job, but once you start to kind of examine the model, you tend to see where the model starts to kind of fall short, which is that it's not really quite able to get the hands right. The face is a bit cartoony, and yeah, the hands definitely need a lot of work. For example, the thumb is missing and this finger is too short. So it's not 100% there, but with image generation, it was the same way. Like it could not get hands and fingers right. So hopefully over time that will definitely improve over time. But yeah, here you go. You can create a fully characterized model, and that's just ready to throw to the 3D printer. Like realistically, I'm going to print this thing maybe 4 or 5 inches tall. So these sort of issues with the hands, they'll probably be something you wouldn't really notice anyway. But certainly, we could go in there and tweak that in a modeling application, and that would be a lot quicker than just making this whole model from scratch. Certainly. I'll just show you a couple more examples. This is a character. It's around a character. This is a real person. This is Emma Stone, and I did that so you can kind of see, you know, the likeness. And I don't think it really can get the likeness because how would it even know? How would it know what her features look like, right? Like it doesn't have any way of approximating depth on your face. So it's really just having to make up all that other space, and I think it does a pretty good job, but I did not try with a side view. So if we got a proper side view, it might actually give us a better likeness, but I just wanted to show the texture um, on this 3D model that's generated. It looks pretty cool. And this is the new model called Head, which is designed more for organics, and I do think it's a little bit more accurate than, let's say, for example, this one. I do notice we have, what I can see is like this white blotch, looks like an artifact. We have this spillover from the different materials, like the shirt to the skin, and we see a lot of blemishes when it's trying to blend from darker areas to lighter areas. So definitely the textures look a little oversaturated as well. So there's some things that they probably need to improve on the texturization, I think. But here on the head model, it does seem to be quite improved for sure. All right, so that's like characters, I suppose. And here's another one. I really like the way this came out, and it just kind of shows you, how random all this stuff is. It's having to pull out all these features, and you never really know what you're going to get. Doesn't really quite look like a reference, but the model itself is well enough that I would be very happy to print this. And then we get to like miniatures. Pretty good at doing miniatures, I think. There's a little cute mouse, something I could put on my desk, I think, or give to a loved one. So that's kind of really cute. That would take me a long time to model, so that's amazing that you can just in a snap just generate this, and all of a sudden you're ready to print this. Another example of a miniature, something cute you can give somebody. And then we kind of get into, I think, what I would call like props, I guess. Not something you would technically 3D print, but maybe something you could start to generate over time and then put into a database, and then maybe sell on the Unity store or on the Unreal Marketplace or something. Because you could easily just generate these things, right? Retopologize them, and then just put them in a pack, like a food pack, and sell those to people that are in game development, and they can just use these to kind of populate their world. And the topology doesn't matter because it's just a static item. It's like a burger, right? So I think that's another avenue for this kind of technology. I think is just to rapidly create little tiny things in your world that don't really need necessarily, really great accuracy, right? Like you can see there's two different tomatoes in here. It's like a red tomato and like a not so red tomato, and this one's thicker. Don't look too hard; it'll be fine. And then we have, I guess, you can see where this is like a miniature, I guess. Oops, didn't mean to do that. But yeah, it's just another miniature. And what else we have here? Oh, the last thing here, I guess, is I would say concept art, or maybe character prototyping. It's probably better to say. Here's another AI image just showing a concept art, and this, you know, model just, came to life from that concept art, and I think that's another application where you would apply this to is just prototyping your characters from concept art, seeing it as a fully realized character. Like you easily could just import this into Unreal Engine. Obviously you're not going to rig this thing; it just has 2 million polygons. Like that's insane. But you can, pose it into or place it into your world and kind of see how it's going to look, in those conditions in your world. And I think that's going to change the game industry as well a little bit. That's really cool. And then here, I've just provided these separate views of this character. Mind you, this is from ChatGPT, but ChatGPT wasn't able to get continuity. So, like here we have this brown leather strap, and it disappears, and then all of a sudden it reappears here, and it has, like this little case on the side, and her arms are in a different pose. So, I'm surprised it was able to get this far with it, but also like it did a super good job. Um, yeah, the textures are a little bit off, but I mean, like why wouldn't it be, right? Um, so yeah, I definitely think rapid prototyping of characters is definitely a thing that can happen, um, for sure. Like it's good enough. I don't see why it'd have to be any better than that. That's really bringing characters to life. So anyway, those are some of the representations of the models that I was able to make using Hitem3D's model generator. I'm really impressed. Certainly, I'll be using it to print these little miniatures because they're just freaking amazing, and I would just enjoy like hand painting them because it looks so the details look rich enough that they would probably show up on the 3D printer itself, and I think that's going to be just incredible. Yeah, like this is just too cute. Like who cares if the treads don't line up or like the stuff is kind of clipping through. It's just freaking awesome, right? Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, thank you for joining me on my little showcase here. Hopefully you'll be able to test out these new models that are being showcased. Actually, it's 1.5. That's gonna be coming out soon. And you can even do this with the current ones, but the newer ones give you a little bit more finer detail for like settled lines and creases and things like that. Definitely does do a better job. All right, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good night. Bye.